When Gideon Byamugisha lost his wife in 1991, he was the most devastated man alive. This was at a time in his life he felt dreams were coming to reality. He recollects the events that led to Kellen's death.
I am in Bishop Tucker College. I am one of their best students. I have already in second year got an exchange scholarship program to go and study in the University of Cardiff for 9 months, because they said they want someone who can lose 9 months and come and catch up. And my teachers said that must be Gideon. So I left. And while there, the guys there said, no, I think I love you. I would want you to come back and do a PhD from here. Okay. And I said, well, I can't come because I have a Mugole and a young child. And he said, no, we will give you sponsorship for both. So I came back very excited to finish my exams, my third year, and then proceed. Because with my 2 bachelors, I didn't need a master's. I needed just enroll in MPhil, Masters of Philosophy, which would be upgraded, and you start your PhD. And I tell my wife, begin preparing, get passports. Yeah, so when she was there and she had all the signatures, she came back. How are you? I'm not fine. What is it? I have a headache. The next day she says, but I also have a stomach problem. The third day, even the back is paining. And she was really losing, you know. So the 4th day we took her to a clinic at Ginger Road.
These were not the usual illnesses at a time in the country when the sound of the word AIDS was equivalent to an arrow shot straight in the heart. No one among Byamugisha's family could relate it to the signs of a person with the virus. Not even the doctors, since results for someone who tested for HIV then would return weeks later.
And the doctor said, oh, this looks like to be a pneumonia. So I'm going to treat her, but I want to examine her more through Mengo Hospital where I'm based. So bring her for review on Tuesday. And on Tuesday, when we were in the doctor's room waiting for the doctor, she died.
Not more than 4 years in marriage, a 6-month-old daughter, and a scholarship offer for Byamugisha was the state Kellen left her husband in.
So that was my rude introduction into the world of AIDS. Because my wife fell sick on a Monday, and by the next Tuesday she was dead. Now, on that Friday, my sister-in-law tells me that when they were with the doctor, they decided between Kellen and her and the doctor to take an HIV test. Don't ask me why, but probably Eunice having that medical background, suspected maybe that
It was a new disease.
Yeah, it was a new disease.
83,
Yeah, and testing had just begun 1 year earlier,
Yeah.
1991. You know, so Eunice says, I decided that we take an HIV test, but Kellen died before we could pick the results.
Yeah.
So after burial, she went and picked the results, and they were HIV positive. But I was doing exams at Bishop Tucker College, so she pocketed them.
Eunice is Byamugisha's sister-in-law. This was the best decision she made for Byamugisha, who was then employed at Bishop Tucker College, now Uganda Christian University, as a lecturer. I should say the single father was slowly moving on from the nightmare of losing his wife.
So in October, she calls me and says, I have something to share with you. And she breaks the news. And I'm like, Eunice, what are you talking about? What is this? What is this you are saying? My wife? You mean my wife died of an AIDS-related illness? You mean I could also be positive? And Eunice saw that the conversation was getting nasty. So she said, no, you're asking me so many questions and I will not be able to answer them. Maybe the best thing to do is you go and do an HIV test.
We loved you before HIV as a family, and we will continue loving you. The HIV will not determine how we relate to you. After living in denial, Byamugisha decided to test for HIV in January 1992. Bowman's house was the HIV testing and counseling center at the time. He got his results in 2 weeks. Now people living with HIV were stigmatized by even the medics who revealed the results to them. Byamugisha got the test of it from the medical officer who revealed his HIV results to him.
And when I received the results, the counselor looks me in the face and says, "Man of God, what are you going to do with this result? You are HIV positive." And I looked at him and I said, "Well, counselor, I didn't know that I would be positive. I didn't come here with a strategic plan. But the God who created me will give me guidance on what to do." So I left.
Indeed, the man of God used these very words in the next chapter of his life as a person living with HIV. To set his mind and soul free, Byamugisha decided not to make his HIV status a secret.
From there, I went to my theology class and said, "Friends, before I start my lesson, I want to tell you something. I need prayers. I'm positive." The class, phew. And then one excellent boy, he's now the Archbishop of Northern Uganda, Reverend Johnson Gakumba, at that time, told his friends, including my bishop now, who was in my class, Bishop Wilberforce, said, "You people, why don't you pray for our lecturer?" And they held hands together, and that was transformative. And that gave me courage to continue disclosing.
The willingness to publicly disclose his status then put him as the first religious leader in Africa to come out. Even though he courageously attached a human face to a killer disease, Byamugisha failed to answer how his wife, who could be suspected to have infected him, contracted AIDS, and vice versa.
After some time, I said, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. How would you know? I mean, like a man like me, I was not a virgin when I married. Put that on record. I don't want people to hide behind the camera and people look at the collar. And, no, I was not a virgin when I married.
Okay.
Number two, I had 4 pints of blood in me from a transfusion I had when I was undergoing my first surgery in 1988. And the person who gave me the blood is dead, and the wife is dead of AIDS. And at that time, during Amin's time before AIDS, you know what happened. You were not born. But those who were there at that time knew that these health services were run down. And a nurse would make a tough decision. I have 100 patients to treat, but I only have 20 needles. So what do I do?
It is from this view that in many of his preachings across the world, he deems the ABC message inaccurate. Abstain, be faithful, and use a condom. This interpretation could make one believe they could have contracted the virus for not adhering to this message.
What I have discovered is that people who give you the date of when they got positive are internalizing the stigma. They have heard that AIDS is what you get when you have sex before marriage or outside marriage. So when you say, "When did you get positive?" they point the date they had sex in a lodge, and they give that as a baseline. "Oh, I was positive in 1988. It was a Tuesday."
Through the years, Byamugisha continues to accept his fate and embrace life. He has moved across the world preaching against stigma. He was blessed to find love again and more blessings of children. Pamela is his new love. They are both HIV positive and have 2 beautiful girls, making the number of children 3. Patience was his first daughter.
Yeah, 2 beautiful girls with Pamela and the one from Kellen. That gives 3. Well, from the last tests, they are negative.
He has received various recognitions for his contribution in the fight against HIV. He has also gotten support from various organizations to set up a training center for youth known as Friends of Canon Gideon Foundation, Foka Gifo in Kawempe, Wakiso district. With such blessings, his tests with the Lord are, however, not yet over. At 6 years, Byamugisha continues to heal from colon cancer. For religious leaders who say they can heal people living with HIV, here is a message for you.
Fellow religious leaders who are watching me, I think we have a challenge to say, surely you can't say God is the creator and you denigrate science. You denigrate the laws that God has used to create you and to create. For example, if you believe in the power of prayer and not science, why do you use a microphone in church? Why don't you say, Amanyi gange gamara, I can speak to 3,000 people without using a microphone? And why do you come in a car? Why don't you just fly into the car or into the church? Yeah, what you said. But you are using science to travel to church. You are using science to talk to people. You are using science to project your sermon to the whole world. But when it comes to medicine, you are telling them, Katonda jakukora. Why? Why hasn't Katonda worked for you to come to church without a car? Yes. So we should agree really that God is holistic. The God of science is the God of prayer, is the God of food.
Byamugisha is published to write down all his life moments. Labors of Love is his recent publication. Get a copy. I am Ruthina Seja reporting for New Vision TV.